Hey all, this is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire, here with another broadcast for you. And I am here with filmmaker, writer, producer, Bobby Huntley of the Charlie movie. Say hi, Bobby.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Now, do you like to be called Bob or Bobby?
Bobby is fine. Maybe Bob in another 20 years or so.
Okay, good, awesome. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'll let Bobby, plug it on his own. But the Charlie movie, I think is extraordinary. When I saw that, I wanted to get this guy on my show to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's rare that I see a film that has like quality and great acting with just this roller coaster of emotions. So it's just. And just for my take, it looks like it's about this woman named Charlie, and we examine how she deals with the process of grieving. So, Bobby, why don't you tell us about the film?
Yeah. So with Charlie, the whole title is La Vie Magnifique de Charlie, which is the magnificent life of Charlie. It's about this young woman who her sister just passed away. And she just has this unorthodox way of dealing with her feelings, her grief, which is by not dealing with them. And her friends notice it, and they take alarm to it and things like that. And but Charlie is just what some would call a carefree type of girl, very eclectic, very quirky, very different. Goes by the beat of a different drum, some would say. And it all kind of spares ahead one day when she discovers, albeit in a funny way, but she discovers her sister left her a scavenger left her some notes that would lead her on a scavenger hunt, which we show them doing as kids through flashbacks. So through the scavenger hunt that her sister left behind for her before she passed, Charlie's finally able to come to grips with some things in her past, things that happened in her childhood, her relationship with her sister, and overall how she deals with emotions and how she deals with the grieving process, and ultimately discovering who she is as a person. So that's essentially what Charlie is and what Charlie is about.
That is very unique. It's great, and I love the dynamic between the characters, between Charlie and her friends, and it's one of those things that you know what, and I'll be honest with you, and just being upfront, it's one of those things that we don't typically see. We kind of see these shows and these movies about the sassy black girl, that the one-liners and, girl, this, that. But these women look sophisticated, they look intelligent, and they just had this camaraderie, this bond that we haven't seen much of. Talk about that.
Well, one of the things I'm definitely excited about, these are definitely some girls, the characters in the film, they are some girls from Atlanta. So they do have that, quality to them, but the thing about it is it's showing them multi-dimensional, fully realized characters they all have separate wants, needs, ambitions, things they're doing in their life, progressing professionally, personally, spiritually, and all these things. But what makes this movie so great, and just overall, what always intrigued me was Black women and their relationships with each other. Like, just even the whole girl thing, like that could mean like 25 million different things with just one word. So just that whole thing where they're seeing something in their friend, their sister, and they have those moments where they just talk and they realize even if you can't say it, can't put it into words, they can be there for each other and realize, oh, my sister needs my help. Let me just be there for her, even if it means not saying anything. So just, creating all those bringing all those things together and keeping that in mind, I think that's what makes Charlie a fun film, because you see all these different types of women, be represented, in the Black community through this.
Yeah, let me clarify what I was saying. So when I'm talking about that type of sassiness, what I'm talking about is one-dimensional characters.
Exactly.
There's depth to them. They're not written as though that sassiness is all that there is. Your characters just go deep. You know what I mean? And then the whole process of grieving and how everybody sees Charlie handling it. And I love the idea when I saw her going on the scavenger hunt. I thought that was just another aspect to it all. And it just was wonderful. You know what? Let's talk about the the cinematography. I mean, the colors are rich. It's just like awesome. And it was shot in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Over 7 weekends.
Over 7 weekends. Yeah, over 7 weekends. Cinematography, for me, it was very important to not only have, the movie produced by a woman, co-written by a woman, which is a creative partner of mine by the name of Nikki Wade. But it was also important for me to have the story told through the lens of a woman. And that would be the cinematographer, Lakeisha Hughes, who's also based here in Atlanta. And actually a project that I worked on, that I'd done before, Louisiana 1961. She loved with it, and she was at a screening. She was in love with it. And she was at a screening, and she came up to me. She's like, I know you don't have budgets or anything yet, but whatever next project you do, I want to be the one to shoot it. And I was like, okay. So that just helped it added to it. So, we came together and worked together and, created the visual style and the tone. I was definitely inspired by a handful of different things, visually and stylistically. Definitely early Spike Lee films like She's Gotta Have It, the School Days, and, things like that. Even some of Madonna's films that she done in the 80s. I have like a very kind of throwback 80s kind of
I saw that. Yeah.
that I wanted represented in this film. And definitely in terms of the very rich colors and the vibrancy of it, I was definitely inspired by the French film Amélie, in which I was intrigued to see what a French magical / ethereal mystical world, but in Atlanta with Black women.
Yeah.
Those two type of things together, giving it almost like a slight fairy tale kind of a look and feel, especially the first quarter of the film, to establish the characters and stuff like that. So that's how we all came together with how it all came together.
How'd you cast the film? Where'd you find the actresses?
Pretty much through auditions. We had a handful of auditions. Layla Brookings, the one who plays Kayla, she's a good friend of mine. She's been in a couple of projects I've done over the years, and we went to school together. So I'm gonna try to always keep her close by. But everyone else is through auditions, and I definitely wanted to create something where I have a lot of actress friends here in Atlanta. Like, when the next time you doing something, put me in it. So I have several. We have like up to close to like 30 different actresses represented in this film, getting their shine, getting their moment. Because, roles are, scarce out here. So I just wanted to give them that time. So some auditioned and some I just, gave them bit parts, so that they can show what they can do. So, yeah.
How is the Atlanta film community? Is that something that's booming right now? Is it just taking off, or?
Definitely. I'm very in tune to the whole independent film scene. I'm very excited about it, especially now. Before, I was kind of standoffish a little bit because I wanted to make sure that my work was okay first before I put myself out there. Now that I know I'm okay, I've started going out more and mixing and mingling. I'm just so happy that it's been so supportive. Everyone is so supportive. I actually put together a small group of other filmmakers, and we get together and meet a couple times a month just to check on each other, offer insight, offer support. So it's just been very supportive and growing and making sure that our quality with our story, our cinematography, our presentation, even down to our promotion and marketing, can compete with those big Hollywood, production companies that come here and, bring people from LA to do the work, as opposed to, bringing hands-on from, here. So sometimes we feel like we have to take things into our own hands and build our own, which is something I'm very, very big on, building your own and not waiting for a handout from somebody else. So I'm happy to be a part of that movement now.
That's great. Do you ever get this film compared to Issa Rae Insecure?
Let me just say, I love Issa Rae, everything she is, everything she does, everything she represents. I've always had my eye on what she's done since Awkward Black Girl, and been inspired by it and how she writes characters and very kind of finding some powerful moments in the mundane, the unspeakable things, and things that we don't really see in Black film. I love that notion of trying to be different, think different, and be cerebral in Black films and how we write about it. So I would definitely say that her and Donald Glover with Atlanta were some of my bigger inspirations with this project and my work overall.
You said it's a low budget. Do you mind telling us how much was the budget?
To be honest with you, there really isn't a number. Like, we didn't start off with like, oh, we only have $7,000 or $10,000. We have to make this work. It was literally week to week.
Wow.
Calling like, hey, we have to shoot. Can you go and buy some food for us? Or can you rent this camera lens for us? You know, so it's like asking people for favors, asking for handouts, asking for support, and different things like that. So it's really hard for me to put like a number to it because that was never an official number to start with. So we just depended on the kindness of strangers and our supporters to help get us through.
Give us some more stories. Like, what was the most difficult and challenging thing during production?
Well, definitely we had an investor initially, but he pulled out like a week or so before filming. So that's kind of what put us in that position to where we didn't have some of the resources that we would have needed to make things flow a lot more smoothly. But war stories. Overall, I mean, things went pretty good. I mean, we ran out of food a couple of times, and that's like one of the worst things you could do on a no-budget film. Like, you have to feed people and feed people well. So we had long days like, I'm sorry, you guys, we ran out of food. We're going to try to run to Kroger or something to pick up something. But everybody was so supportive and down for the cause. They believed in me. They believed in themselves. They believed in the film. They believed in the story. But it almost seemed like everybody knew how important this was. And, you know, sometimes with like independent films, you know, you got some people here this week and they can't be there the next week and this and that. You got a whole new crew every week. But like pretty much everybody stayed on the entire time. And that was a tremendous blessing. I'm trying to think. We had some locations like saying no at the last minute. We had to hurry up and scurry and try to find, and we almost got kicked out of the location. Well, actually in the street, we were told that we could film, you know, on the streets of Atlanta as long as we're not blocking traffic or doing anything. But because we were a Black crew, I hate to say it, in a white area, they tried to shut us down. It happens, but we were able to finesse the situation and continue filming. But we got some great shots out of it, so it ended up working out. So yeah.
Was it a challenge for you wearing many hats?
Oh yes, it was extremely difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it was probably the hardest thing that I've done thus far as a filmmaker. It was a growing process for me, especially with the whole wearing so many hats thing. If I learned anything from this whole process was to be more in tune and be available to my actors, because especially with the newer actors, they need that assurance on set.
Yeah.
But I was so concerned with, okay, location, this, that, make sure, okay, we got it, all right, let's get it, let's go. We got to be out of here in like 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes having to be a producer and this and that and the, you know, making sure this is taken care of and that's taken care of. You have to be able to drown all that out and just create a safe space between you and your actors. Like, okay, take the time that you need to take.
Yeah.
Let's get you in that mood. Let's get you in that moment and fly. You know what I'm saying? So moving forward, I know that I need to have, I would love to have the infrastructure there on set so that they can handle all of those things and I could just focus on the actors and the performance and the things like that. So that was one of the lessons that I learned with this production.
You know, typically in Hollywood, it's kind of like an unsaid rule. They don't like a director who also can edit the picture, because when you're shooting, you're so close to certain scenes that as an editor, you want to include everything now. But you know, it's a beautiful shot, I want to include it. So you're not looking at it objectively and saying, well, it's too much here. You know, that's why they like to have a different editor. But you cut the film, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I would eventually love to not have to edit my own things. I'm actually an editor by trade.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I definitely think like an editor in terms of making sure I have the coverage and the different things like that, and knowing what I need, the moments, especially with the eyes. I cut to eye movement, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I cast my eyes are like my secret weapon. So I have to look at your eyes and feel something in order for me to cast you. So I cut to things like that, moments and beats and all of those things. And hopefully that will add to what a Bobby Huntley film is. Um, so yeah, I definitely think it's been a plus thus far for me as a director to be an editor.
Oh, that's good. Now, how did you get the inspiration to make this about the grieving process, though? Like, what is that? Is that something that's very personal to you?
Um, Actually, yes. Actually, with a lot of people in this associated with this film, but for me, it's just been, I'm just curious about what the grief process is, because fortunately, all grace to God, I haven't really had to deal with it too much firsthand, but it's one of those things that is going to happen. So with me being always in my head as a creative person, what's that moment going to be like when I get that call? How will I respond? How will I react? What will my life be after that? Because I know I will take everything in that moment and put that moment into like this box that's like almost like a film. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
But so I'm always intrigued by that. Like there's even a scene where I can remember when my grandmother passed away. And there were moments where we would like talk. I can't really remember if we would text, but we would talk. She had a cell phone. And it was this moment like, do I delete her phone number now? So I just remember like pulling out my phone and looking at her number on my phone, knowing I can't really call her anymore. I actually did call a few times, but after a while, they give the number to somebody else, which is a weird situation. But I do have a scene in the film where you see her texting her sister over and over and over. Like she's scrolling through all the texts, like, I missed you, I love you, I wish you were here. So just that moment with, cell phones and text messages, like what is it you're trying to communicate with somebody who can't communicate back?
Mm.
And primarily with the whole grieving process being one of the through lines of the film is I wanted to create a film about women that didn't really center around men. So that was something that me and my creative partner, Nikki Wade, was like, how can we do this? So we turned it into, her sister being the love of her life. And that's no longer here. How do you deal with that? Or what if you don't have the tools to deal with that because of the things that you've experienced in your childhood and the things that you've seen? And so I think that's what helps make this film different, because it could have turned into a situation where Charlie has a man or doesn't like her man, or her and her man are going through a breakup, or, so we just wanted this film to be different and just have a different avenue to it. So
Where are you at now? I think you have a GoFundMe page, right?
yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's the GoFundMe page is the Charlie movie. GoFundMe.com/the Charlie movie. And where we are right now with it is to help with the marketing, the promotion of the film. The goal with that is to take the film to several cities throughout the remainder of the summer, going into the fall and the winter of this year, and just build an organic following, fan base, supporters, word of mouth, to help take this movie to the next level and the next phase. Because like I said, we've done this with pretty much no budget. And now we have a film, and then, okay, marketing and promoting it, that's a whole nother monster. So, typically with GoFundMe and the other fundraising platforms, it's to help with the creation of the film.
Yeah.
So we already have the film. So, we already have a tangible product. It's just about helping us get to a level where it can be seen. Pretty much. Trying to raise money for visibility.
Now, are you giving anything away, like T-shirts or anything?
Not at this time, but we're definitely going to get to that level. It's more so about once we're into those cities and building that with them and establishing our brand, we'll be able to build a brand out of that, which will include T-shirts and buttons and or whatever different things that you can come up with, and that will be introduced as we go further along in the process.
Oh, great. So give us that GoFundMe URL again.
Sure, it is GoFundMe.com/The Charlie Movie. Pretty much everything in relation to social media will be The Charlie Movie. So on Instagram, The Charlie Movie. Facebook, The Charlie Movie. All those things will be The Charlie Movie.
Where'd you get the title from?
Where do we get the what?
The title of the film from?
Well, I'm obnoxious a little bit, so I have a thing for long titles. I definitely wanted in French to signify that this was a different kind of a film.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that when I tell my movie titles to people, they stop and go, what? So that automatically makes them want to know more. You know what I'm saying? That's a little Bobby secret of mine. So.
Oh, okay.
What's that now? Say it again. So
I actually thought it was a foreign film at first. Wait a minute, is this a foreign film? Or?
Yeah. And then I'm interested in what, when we get to the Hollywood level, what the marketing people are going to say, like, oh, you can't do a foreign movie title on a non-foreign film. That will confuse people. So I want to see what that conversation will be like. But, by then it'll be too late. Yeah. But, and because it was inspired by a French film, Amélie, I wanted to, include those elements as well.
What's your style closest to? Is it would you say it's Spike Lee, Tyler Perry, like F. Gary Gray? What's your style closest to?
I can't really answer that question. I definitely have influences. All the people before me, influences me a bit. To be 100% honest with you, I know how most filmmakers, their natural inclination is to be inspired by or to emulate or get their style close to, the Quentin Tarantino's and all of those things. But I'm more inspired by music. I'm more inspired by entertainers. So that's the energy and the style that I bring into my film. So yeah, that's so I was definitely like to say that this film, and then it's also dedicated to the memory of, was mostly inspired by Prince. We came up with this inception, well, definitely before he passed, but it was after he passed where I really decided, like, okay, I definitely have to do this film. I want to do something that feels like him, that has his spirit. And the music in the film, the score, which is spearheaded by an amazing producer by the name of Chucky Charles here in Atlanta. We definitely wanted to add Prince to it. So it has a very Minneapolis funk sound and vibe to it. So.
Now, do you have the music is incredible, by the way. I loved it. Do you have the rights to all of that?
Yes, it's all original music. And we're excited about that. There's even been some talks about possibly doing a soundtrack. I don't know how to go about that, but Chucky, hey, the people might want it. I'm definitely extremely excited about the song that Charlie sings at the end of the film. Yeah, called "The Best of Me," which is written by another amazing producer by the name of Jeff Page and a singer by the name of Gypsy, amazingly talented Miss Gypsy Nichols, and it kind of encompasses everything, the relationship between Charlie and her sister and also their grandmother that strengthened their bond when they were young kids, because they had different mothers. So the best of me, loving me is loving you, and the best of me is inside of you. When you love yourself, you love me too. The best of me is inside of you. So I think that song is so powerful. And when we screened the film, people were really into it and it brought people to tears. So I definitely want to do something with that song. So.
Yeah, that's great. So what city's next for you? What can we see it?
Well, we're still building dates. We're reaching out to a couple of different people. I can say that Philly is going to be on the map. We might have that date secured very soon. But we're looking to bring the film to Philly, D.C., New York, Ohio. Me and the lead actress, Courtney Price. That one right there, we both have family in Ohio, so we got to bring it there. Want to bring it to Texas, Seattle. Me and Nikki, we're also from Seattle as well, so we want to bring it there. So Chicago, anywhere that fits the vibe and that we can get that audience to come out, get the Black women to come out to support anybody who loves independent films. We want to bring it there. And if you want us to bring it to your city that we haven't named, let us know. We could definitely work that out.
Great, great. Now, how should they contact you now?
TheCharlieMovie.net. There's a way to get in contact with us. Email us, send us a message. Instagram, everything is The Charlie Movie. But TheCharlieMovie.net is our website. You can definitely hit us up through there.
That's great. Now, was this your first film?
The first film that people will see. I did a few years ago when I first got out of undergrad film school. I did a project called, here's another long title for you, Herbert and Cleophas and the Unfortunate Chronicles of the Kidnapping of Miss Elephant, right? And this 1940s screwball comedy, like a Harlem Nights kind of a thing. And somehow, same situation, no budget. We pulled it off, got the hair, the clothes, the cars, even the cars. God is amazing. But I couldn't get the music scored for it. So it was crazy. I was able to do the whole movie. And when it came time to the movie's done, everything's edited, ready to go, and try to find a composer, bam, came to this roadblock. So it was like 2 years of trying to get the movie scored. It just couldn't come together. And then by that point, I kind of outgrew the movie, you know, got better. And at some point, I will let that movie see the light of day, but I've been sitting on it. But I've been putting little clips out here and there on Instagram, and a lot of people really, really love it. Like, if I was able to come out with that movie years ago like I was supposed to, I definitely would have, you know, been, you know, the dude, I'm thinking. You know, because it was a cool movie. I'm not going to lie to you. Like a 1940s comedy done by, you know, a dude that just came out of college. Like, come on, it would have been insane. But, yeah, it wasn't meant to be, so it's still in the vault.
Okay, so what advice do you have for aspiring filmmakers looking to shoot a film with almost no money?
I would definitely say, don't let fear hinder you. If you're a religious, spiritual person, you know, I'm a PK. My father would always say, you can't pray and worry at the same time. So pick which road you want to go down. Definitely work hard to build your tribe. So if you don't have a tribe of people that believe in you and are willing to go to the trenches with you, as I was able to do with this film, I was able to do that because I invested in myself first. I took the time to learn the trade, learn the craft. I went through school. Not everybody needs to go through the whole school thing, but, you know, I did my own projects, smaller projects by myself to show what I could do. And so if you have this big project you want to do small things that will lead to it. Show your stuff, you know, show what you can do. Each thing will lead to the last one. Like I said, I did a smaller project, which lets me being able to get a cinematographer with her own camera and own gear, you know, for free, for the love, because she loved what I was able to do with nothing. And then I can only imagine with us doing this film, what that could possibly lead to. Hopefully with, you know, backing and a huge budget, you know, putting that out there. But yeah, just invest in yourself. Do the work, keep continuing to do your work. You'll find your tribe, and then eventually you'll be able to do the things you've always wanted to do with your stories.
Now, Bob, you mentioned marketing and, you know, going out there, forwarding it to the different, you know, states. Are you afraid of alienating men from, you know, do you think that they'll be attracted to this film?
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I knew who I was making this film for. And I knew the audience, and I knew the audience that I wanted. But what I will say, what makes this film amazing is that it doesn't talk down to men. It doesn't go in on men like you would expect, or one would think a film with an all-Black woman cast would do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and what I found to be amazing is that the people, you know, when we screened it and we got feedback and stuff, it's universal. It's not a woman's issue. It's not a Black woman's issue. It's people dealing with, you know, mental health, you know, issues and having to deal with making sure that you're okay after dealing with the trauma of grief and losing a loved one. Everybody goes through that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and trying to find ways to bury that feeling. And that can only help you for so long. Like, you have to deal with it. So it's definitely marketed towards and geared towards women, especially Black women. But, you know, it's I definitely feel it's universal. And the audience, all the people who want to find this film will definitely find this film, and they'll fall in love with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the trailer is incredible. And, you know, I didn't even look at it in terms of, hey, these are just women. I just saw it as a human story.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What are you working on next?
Oh boy, something for the fellas. You know, I feel like I got to balance it out. But nah. Charlie is going to be my life for a while. Like the whole marketing and promotion thing, I've never really done that before. So I have to really devote a lot of time and energy to give my all to that and experience that. To, you know, now I birthed something into the world, and I got to make sure that it's properly fed and nurtured and that it grows, you know?
Yeah.
So there were several other projects that I would have loved to do, like the short film I'd done before this, Louisiana 1961. It's a love story based in Louisiana in 1961. That was a short that I did that a lot of people fell in love with. It was like one of those Black love kind of films with the hot, sweaty, you know, love scenes and the glistening sweat on the melanin popping and all that stuff. So turning that into a feature-length film was definitely the obvious next step. So that's something I'm definitely still developing now. So just to see a powerful love story with young Black cast would be a very interesting thing to see, especially in this climate right now. Especially for it to be a period piece. So I'm definitely excited about that. And a couple other projects I'm developing as well. But Charlie is going to be on the main focal point of my career.
Would you ever like to do something like the Black Panther?
I would, well, story number one for me. It has to be a story that I feel like I can sink my teeth into, that I can, you know, put my Bobby-isms in it, as some people say. So if I really believe in the story, I definitely could go into this superhero action genre. I don't really have a lot of experience with it, but I'm just really happy to see our people represented through different genres, and I would love to be a part of that.
What's your favorite genre?
I don't really have a favorite genre. I'm just all about story. But I find that I identify closer with films that have a strong music element to it. Not necessarily musicals where they break out in a song every 5 minutes, but where music is like, it plays some sort of a focus or a through line or something. And I definitely will try to have at least some sort of a musical performance in each of my films, because I just love filming music and that whole thing that happens, how it could transform a space and energy and people. So anything with music in it is pretty cool with me, I guess.
I'm going to ask you, this is going to be from way back in the day. What did you, I don't know if you saw it, but what did you think of Under the Cherry Moon?
It's definitely, see, I wasn't born when the movie came out, so I can only imagine what it was like to have seen Purple Rain, experienced Purple Rain, going into the theater expecting Purple Rain too and not getting it. So that must have been insane to deal with, right? But for me, looking back, I appreciate the film for how different it was. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Prince as an artist, is that each project he does is going to be, he's going to attempt for it to be completely different than the last, at least is what he was doing in the 80s during that time period. And that's actually my favorite time period, when he was creating. So after the Purple Rain era, the Around the World a Day area, all the way through Sign of the Times, he was in his most eclectic, quirky, different, trying to all different things, and that's the era I appreciate the most. So anything that time period he would have done, including Under the Cherry Moon, is all right with me. So I've been inspired by that film. A lot of my films have short films have some sort of Under the Cherry Moon in it somehow. But yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, Bobby, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. The film is just, you know, what I've seen is sensational, and I wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to be big. Keep plugging it. Keep working hard. And I want everybody to go to the charliemovie.net. That's correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Yeah, and check it out and donate to him on GoFundMe.
Yes.
And, you know, if you're interested in setting up a screening, reach out to Bobby. You will benefit greatly from it. So we got to get the word out there about this film. It's something it's a rare jewel. So
yes.
Thank you, Bobby. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. La vie magnifique de Charlie. We will come to your city and we'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for the love and the support. God bless.
Thank you.